If you're over 60, please, I am begging you, stop what you're doing and listen closely. You've dedicated a lifetime to trying to eat right, choosing fresh fruits over processed snacks, avoiding fried foods, and diligently cutting back on sugar. You've done everything you thought was healthy. But what if I told you that some of the most common fruits sitting in your kitchen right now, fruits you wholeheartedly believe are protecting your heart, might actually be slowly and silently damaging it? This isn't fear-mongering. This is a medical reality. As we age, our bodies fundamentally change. The food that may have helped your heart at 40 could now be sabotaging it at 70. These changes are subtle, insidious, and potentially deadly, and most seniors never see them coming until it's far too late. As a cardiologist who has spent over 30 years treating older adults, I've watched this tragedy unfold too many times. Patients with the best intentions, harmed by hidden truths that no one ever warned them about. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 9 specific fruits and eating habits that may be quietly harming your heart. And more importantly, I'll show you what to eat instead. Please, for your health, your independence, and your future, stay with me. This might be the most important video you watch this year. 1. Grapefruit, a silent disruptor of your medications. If you're over 60 and focused on protecting your heart, grapefruit might seem like a perfect, harmless friend, refreshing, tangy, and packed with vitamin C. For decades, many seniors have reached for grapefruit in the morning, believing it's a clean, heart-healthy start to the day. But what if I told you this seemingly innocent fruit could be quietly interfering with your essential medications, turning your breakfast into a biochemical battleground inside your body? Let me be very clear, grapefruit isn't dangerous for everyone. But if you take medications for your heart, especially statins for cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, or antiarrhythmics for rhythm control, this fruit can disrupt how your liver processes those drugs, leading to potentially toxic levels in your bloodstream. Here's what's happening inside. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins. Think of these compounds as saboteurs. They inhibit a crucial enzyme in your liver known as CYP3A4, which acts like a team of dedicated cleaners responsible for breaking down and eliminating medications from your body. When this enzyme is blocked, the medicine builds up instead of being properly metabolized. It's like trying to drain a sink through a clogged pipe. The pressure rises, and so does the risk. Now, imagine this scenario. 1 glass of grapefruit juice in the morning, taken alongside your simvastatin for cholesterol or your amlodipine for high blood pressure. Over time, the drug accumulates. You might not feel anything at first, but quietly, your blood pressure could drop too low, your heartbeat could become erratic, or your muscles might begin to ache and weaken from statin toxicity. You would never even suspect the fruit is the culprit. I'll never forget my patient, Mr. Robert, a 74-year-old retired railroad engineer from Ohio. Robert had done everything right since his bypass surgery. He walked every morning, took his medications religiously, and swore off red meat. But he was still experiencing dizzy spells, profound fatigue, and muscle cramping. When I reviewed his chart, nothing added up until I asked about his breakfast routine. With a proud smile, he said, "Doc, every morning since my surgery, I start the day with a glass of fresh grapefruit juice. It's my daily cleanse." That cleanse was actually clogging his liver's ability to process his medications. His statin levels were more than double what they should have been. His blood pressure medication was lingering far too long in his system. Robert wasn't being careless. He was doing what he thought was healthy. But his good intentions nearly cost him another trip to the hospital. Once we removed grapefruit from his diet and monitored his blood levels, his symptoms vanished. He later told me, "I had no idea something so small could mess me up that badly. I thought all fruit was good for the heart." And it can be for some, but not if you're on these specific heart medications. If you're over 60 and taking any prescription drugs for your heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol, you must talk to your doctor or pharmacist about grapefruit. Don't assume it's safe just because it's natural. Nature is powerful, and unchecked power can be dangerous. This isn't about blaming the fruit. It's about giving your aging body the respect it deserves. After 60, your metabolism changes. Your liver slows down. The margin for error shrinks. And that means even small choices, like a single glass of juice, can have life-altering consequences. Grapefruit doesn't come with a warning label, but perhaps it should. Now, if grapefruit can do this, What about a fruit that's even more common? One that may be flooding your body with something just as threatening? You might be peeling it every single morning, never realizing the silent storm it's causing inside you. 2. Bananas. When too much potassium becomes a hidden danger. If you're over 60, chances are you've been told that bananas are a heart-healthy choice. They're easy to digest, famously packed with potassium, and carry that comforting, familiar feeling of home. After all, what could possibly be safer than a soft, natural fruit that has graced American breakfast tables for generations? But here's the critical piece of information that most seniors are never told. As your kidneys age, the very same potassium that once protected your heart can quietly push it into a danger zone. This is especially true if you're already on medications that affect potassium balance, like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or certain diuretics. Your body after 60 is not the same machine it was at 40. Your kidneys don't clear excess minerals as efficiently. Your heart's electrical system isn't as resilient to sudden shifts in electrolytes. When potassium builds up in your bloodstream, a condition called hyperkalemia, it doesn't make you feel sick, at least not right away. But deep inside, it can disrupt the delicate electrical signals that keep your heart beating in a steady rhythm. One minute you're feeling fine, and the next, you could be dizzy, weak, or lying in an emergency room with an irregular heartbeat, never knowing that the healthy banana you eat every morning is part of the problem. I'll never forget Mrs. Helen, a sweet, 76-year-old widow from a small town in Pennsylvania. She came to my clinic after an episode that scared her to her core, a fainting spell at the grocery store. She'd felt her heart skip and flutter before, but this time was different. Her vision blurred, her legs gave out. By the time the paramedics arrived, her heart was in a dangerous arrhythmia. When I sat with her days later, her voice was soft but anxious. "I don't understand, doctor. I don't eat junk food. I walk every morning, and I don't touch salt. I take my lisinopril every day, just like I'm told. The only treat I allow myself is my bananas. 2 a day, every day, for years." What Helen didn't know, and what too many seniors don't, is that while bananas are healthy in moderation, they are one of the most potassium-rich fruits available. Each medium banana contains roughly 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium. That's perfectly fine for a young, healthy person. But Helen's medication was already designed to increase her potassium levels. Her aging kidneys couldn't clear the excess fast enough. The result was a silent buildup that finally tipped her heart's electrical system into chaos. Her lab tests confirmed it: severe hyperkalemia. And it didn't come from supplements or junk food. It came from her healthy habit. We adjusted her diet, limiting her banana intake to just once or twice a week, and her symptoms resolved. But what shook her most was how little warning she had. "I thought I was doing everything right," she said. And she was, based on the information she had. This is not about demonizing bananas. It's about understanding that even nature's best gifts must be handled with new wisdom as we age. Your heart is more sensitive now. Your kidneys are more fragile. What once gave you strength can now overwhelm your system, slowly, quietly, and without pain. Potassium is essential, but only in balance. For seniors, that balance is fragile. If you're on heart medications, have kidney trouble, or experience unusual fatigue, muscle weakness, or skipped heartbeats, don't just dismiss it. Get your potassium levels checked. Talk to your doctor about your diet. The logic of "if a little is good, more must be better" simply does not apply after 60. Now, if bananas can do that, what about a fruit that's even sweeter? One that spikes your blood sugar and feeds inflammation directly in your arteries? Let me tell you about it next. You might be planning to eat it for dessert tonight. 3. Mangoes. The sweet spike that confuses the heart. There's something truly irresistible about a ripe mango. Its golden flesh, its tropical scent, the way it melts on your tongue. It feels like summer, like a comforting indulgence. For many older adults, a slice of mango is more than just a treat. It's a taste of happy memories. But what if that very sweetness, that innocent pleasure, was silently overwhelming your heart? For seniors, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, or existing heart conditions, mangoes can quietly trigger a cascade of negative reactions. They can confuse your metabolism, spike your blood sugar, and inflame your blood vessels without you ever knowing it. The truth is, while mangoes do contain fiber and antioxidants, They also carry a very high glycemic load. This means they can raise your blood glucose levels with alarming speed, especially in older adults whose insulin response is already weakened. After the age of 60, your body processes sugar differently. Your pancreas may be slower, and your insulin sensitivity often drops. Your cells no longer absorb sugar as efficiently, and that excess sugar doesn't just float harmlessly in the bloodstream. It clings to the lining of your arteries, feeding inflammation and causing them to stiffen. Over time, this chronic inflammation becomes the hidden foundation of heart disease. But that's not all. A sudden spike in blood sugar can also trigger a spike in blood pressure, as it disrupts the delicate balance of hormones that regulate blood flow and fluid retention. It's a domino effect, and for many older Americans, it starts with a single fruit they believed was healthy. I'll never forget Mr. David, a 69-year-old veteran from Florida, who came to my clinic complaining of chest tightness and overwhelming fatigue. His medical history was clean. He didn't smoke, ate no fried food, and walked daily. But his blood pressure readings were erratic, and his A1C, a marker of long-term blood sugar, had quietly crept into the diabetic range. What struck me was how puzzled he was. "I've given up soda. I don't eat sweets anymore," he told me. "I snack on fruit now. Mangoes, mostly. Feels clean." But when I asked him how often, his answer was startling. "Every day, document. 2 if they're small. They help with the cravings." We ran the numbers. One average mango contains over 45 grams of sugar, more than a can of Coke. Dried mango is even more concentrated. Mr. David had unknowingly replaced one danger with another, and his heart was paying the price. His case wasn't unique. Many seniors try to eat clean by replacing processed sweets with tropical fruits, not realizing they can still wreak havoc. After we cut back his mango intake and built a safer fruit plan with more berries and lower glycemic options, his energy returned and his heart symptoms faded. He told me later, "I never thought fruit could act like sugar. I guess sugar is sugar, no matter how pretty it looks." And he was right. Your body doesn't care if the sugar came from a candy bar or a mango. It just knows it's overloaded. If you've ever felt that post-meal fatigue or unexplained swelling in your feet, look closely at the fruit on your plate. A mango might feel wholesome, but for many hearts over 60, it's a metabolic trap. Now, if a single mango can do that, what happens when you bite into something even larger and more water-heavy, flooding your body with not just sugar, but potassium and fluid, forcing your heart to work overtime? It's red, refreshing, and hiding behind picnic smiles all across America. 4. Watermelon, the red flood that can overwhelm an aging heart. There's something timeless and wholesome about watermelon. It's the fruit of summer picnics, childhood laughter, and backyard barbecues. A cold slice on a warm day feels innocent, hydrating, and light. That's why so many seniors reach for it, believing it's one of the safest, most heart-friendly fruits they can enjoy. But very few people talk about what a large amount of watermelon actually does to an aging body, and that silence can be dangerous. What many seniors don't realize is that watermelon, when consumed in excess, is a triple threat. It's loaded with natural sugars, packed with potassium, and capable of shifting the body's fluid balance so rapidly that your heart and kidneys struggle to keep up. As we age, our kidney function naturally declines. They don't filter waste or manage electrolytes as efficiently. Now, add in common medications like ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or beta blockers. When a large amount of watermelon enters the system, often 2 or 3 cups in a single sitting, you've just sent your cardiovascular system into a potential tailspin from fluid and potassium overload. I'll never forget Mrs. Linda, a vibrant 81-year-old former librarian from Kansas, who came to see me late one summer with swollen ankles, shortness of breath, and what she described as a heart that feels too heavy. Her medications were stable. She wasn't eating salty snacks. But when I asked about recent habits, her eyes lit up. "Oh, doctor, I've been replacing dessert with watermelon. Big bowls of it, morning and night. Better than ice cream, right?" Yes, but not better than moderation. Her blood work showed a borderline high potassium level, and her heart was struggling. The cause? Too much watermelon, combined with reduced kidney clearance and heart medications that couldn't adjust fast enough. It wasn't a sudden failure. It was a slow, steady flood. 1 cup of diced watermelon contains over 170 milligrams of potassium, and more than 9 grams of sugar. That might seem harmless, but seniors often eat multiple cups. This overload of water and electrolytes can dilute sodium in the blood and raise the strain on the heart as it struggles to pump the extra fluid volume. The result can be shortness of breath, swelling, and in serious cases, it can trigger congestive heart failure episodes. All from a fruit no one warned you about. Mrs. Linda had no idea. She thought she was doing the right thing. But when you're over 60, even healthy food can hurt you if it's not matched to your current health status. We helped her reduce her watermelon intake to 1 small cup a day. She recovered well, but I'll never forget what she told me. I always thought the danger was in salty chips. I didn't think something so natural could knock me off balance like that. Watermelon isn't the enemy, but your heart is not the same as it was 20 years ago. So next time you reach for that second or third helping, pause. Ask yourself, is my body ready for this much fluid, sugar, and potassium all at once? 5. Dried fruits. Nature's candy with a hidden cost. To many older Americans, dried fruits feel like a smart, wholesome snack. A handful of raisins instead of cookies, a few dried apricots instead of pie. They're natural, convenient, and easy to chew. But here's the dangerous truth no one tells you. Dried fruit is nature's candy. It's concentrated, sticky, and capable of silently damaging your heart. When a fruit is dried, nearly all of its water is removed. What's left behind is a compact, calorie-dense, sugar-loaded morsel that enters your bloodstream with shocking speed. Without the water and fiber to slow absorption, that natural sugar hits your system hard, spiking blood glucose, inflaming blood vessels, and flooding your heart with signals it can't handle after 60. For seniors, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, or high blood pressure, these spikes are dangerous. They lead to increased triglyceride levels, arterial stiffness, and insulin resistance, a ticking time bomb for heart attacks and strokes. I remember one patient, Mr. Samuel, a 72-year-old retired postal worker from Illinois. A gentle man who came to my clinic after his second minor stroke in less than a year. He thought he was doing everything right, but his blood tests showed elevated triglycerides and high fasting blood sugar. When I asked about his diet, he proudly replied, "No junk food, doc. I don't eat cake or candy. I just snack on raisins, prunes, dates. I keep them in a little tin in my truck." What he didn't realize is that a quarter cup of raisins contains nearly 30 grams of sugar, almost as much as a candy bar. These healthy foods were pushing his metabolism into overdrive. We worked together to replace his dried fruits with fresh, lower sugar options, like berries or a few apple slices with peanut butter. Within weeks, his numbers began to stabilize. What stuck with me was his follow-up comment. "I thought I had given up dessert. Turns out, I just traded it for a smaller version that fooled me." That's the danger with dried fruit. It wears a halo of health. But for seniors, portion size means everything. Those few little bites, day after day, can silently undo all the progress you've worked so hard to make. Many dried fruits are also preserved with sulfites, which can raise blood pressure in sensitive individuals. So next time you grab that bag of trail mix, ask yourself, am I feeding my body, or am I overloading it in disguise? 6. Bottled fruit juice. The sweet trap in a glass. There's something deeply comforting about a glass of fruit juice. It's familiar, simple, and for many older Americans, it feels like a healthy choice. Labels shouting 100% juice or no added sugar reassure us we're making a smart decision. But here is the truth few seniors are ever told. That sweet sip may be quietly straining your heart more than you know. Bottled fruit juice, whether it's orange, apple, or a superfruit blend, is not the same as eating whole fruit. For the aging body, it is one of the most deceptive sources of sugar in our diet. Why? Because the juicing process strips away the single most important thing that protects you: fiber. What you're left with is a concentrated blast of fructose that rushes into your bloodstream, spikes your blood sugar, and places your heart under sudden, intense stress. A single 12-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 30 grams of sugar, roughly the same as a can of soda. Grape juice often has even more. And while that sugar comes from fruit, your aging pancreas, arteries, and heart don't know the difference. The damage from a sugar overload is the same. Mrs. Evelyn, a sharp 78-year-old, was a perfect example. She was managing mild hypertension and prediabetes, but her numbers were getting worse. I've been cutting back on sweets, she told me. I switched to heart-healthy juices, cranberry in the morning, orange at lunch. She thought she was helping her heart, but she was pouring the equivalent of 5 to 6 teaspoons of liquid sugar into her body with each glass. Once we removed bottled juice from her routine and replaced it with whole fruits and water, her energy returned and her labs improved. She told me, I truly believed I was doing the right thing. I was drinking it to stay out of the hospital, and it nearly put me in one. The food industry doesn't warn you that the sugar in that healthy juice bottle is processed by your body the same way as soda, only faster. After 60, that natural sweetness in a bottle can quietly erode your stability, one glass at a time. 7. Pomegranate. A double-edged sword for those on blood thinners. Pomegranate has been praised as a superfruit, bursting with antioxidants and portrayed as a miracle in a shell. For many seniors, it seems like a smart, natural choice. But if you're over 60 and taking blood thinners, like warfarin, Eliquis, or even a daily low-dose aspirin, this beautiful fruit could be silently turning your medication into a loaded weapon inside your body. The danger lies in how its compounds interact with your medication. Pomegranate, much like grapefruit, contains potent phytochemicals that can inhibit the same CYP450 enzymes in your liver responsible for breaking down drugs. When these enzymes are blocked, your blood thinner medication can build up to unsafe levels, making your blood too thin and dramatically increasing your risk for internal bleeding. Let me tell you about Mr. Charles, a 77-year-old retired Navy mechanic. He came to me after an alarming episode of blood in his urine and lightheadedness that almost caused him to fall. His INR, a measure of how long it takes blood to clot, was dangerously high. Charles was taking warfarin, and his dosage hadn't changed. But something was wrong. As we reviewed his diet, he casually mentioned he'd recently started drinking a glass of pomegranate juice every morning after reading it was good for circulation. That was the missing piece. In Charles's case, the juice pushed his body into a bleeding risk without him ever knowing. We stopped the juice, and his levels returned to a safe range. He was stunned. I thought I was doing something good for my heart, he said. I never imagined a fruit could mess with my medicine like that. And that is exactly the problem. The liver doesn't care where a compound came from. It processes everything through the same pathways, and when you're over 60, those pathways are more sensitive and easier to overwhelm. So, if you're on blood thinners, you must talk to your doctor before making pomegranate a daily habit. 8. Canned fruits. Syrup and sodium in disguise. There's a quiet comfort in opening a can of peaches or pears. For many seniors, canned fruits feel simple and accessible. But what most don't realize is that inside that can often lies a double dose of danger, sugar and salt. Canned fruits are often packed in heavy syrup. A half cup of canned peaches in syrup can contain upwards of 20 grams of sugar, nearly the same as a candy bar, and that sweetness comes without the natural fiber of fresh fruit. It enters your bloodstream rapidly, causing spikes in blood sugar and inflammation. But sugar isn't the only problem. To preserve freshness and flavor, many canned goods contain added sodium. This is particularly dangerous if you're already managing hypertension or heart failure. Mrs. Brenda, a 75-year-old widow, came to my clinic with persistent swelling in her legs and shortness of breath. Her diet seemed fine, until she mentioned her daily healthy dessert, a big bowl of canned fruit cocktail. What she didn't know was that her harmless dessert was delivering a dangerous mix of sugar and sodium that was overwhelming her system. After switching her to canned fruit packed in water, which she rinsed before eating, her symptoms improved dramatically. But the fear in her eyes when she realized a simple can of peaches had pushed her so close to a hospital stay, that stayed with me. It's not the fruit, it's the form. If you buy canned fruits, please read the labels. Choose options packed in water or no added sugar. And always rinse the fruit before serving to remove excess syrup and sodium. 9. Overdoing even heart-healthy fruits. When good intentions go too far. We've all heard the advice, eat more fruits and vegetables. And it's good advice until it's taken to an extreme. Yes, fruits are packed with fiber and vitamins. But when you're over 60, even the healthiest foods can cause harm if you eat too much, too often, or without balance. Your metabolism is different. Your kidneys don't flush excess nutrients as efficiently, and your heart is more vulnerable to sudden shifts in blood sugar, potassium, and fluid levels. I've had to explain this hard truth to many patients, including Mr. Frank, a 78-year-old retired music teacher. After a minor heart attack, he had committed to clean living. He filled his plate with kale, spinach, bananas, sweet potatoes, and beets every single day in large servings. "I live on plants now, doctor," he said with conviction. But he wasn't getting stronger. He was more tired. His labs revealed elevated potassium and mild kidney strain. The problem wasn't that he was eating the wrong things. He was eating too much of the right things. Fruits like bananas and oranges are high in potassium, which can be dangerous when combined with certain heart medications. Spinach and kale are rich in vitamin K, which can interfere with blood thinners. Even the natural sugars in apples and grapes can raise blood glucose if not eaten in moderation. The lesson is this: after 60, the key isn't to eat more, it's to eat wisely. Your body needs consistency, not intensity. Gentleness, not extremes. Your heart has carried you through a lifetime. Now, it needs you to protect it with precision, not excess. So what should you eat? By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has beaten over 2 billion times. It deserves care tailored to this season of life. Focus on foods that are low in sodium, low in sugar, and moderate in potassium. Staples like steamed green beans, roasted carrots, and sautéed zucchini are excellent. For fruit, think low glycemic and moderate portions, fresh berries, thin slices of apple, a few cubes of melon. And prioritize hydration with plain water or unsweetened herbal teas. It's not about restriction. It's about gentle, steady healing. It's about recognizing that your body is not the same as it was at 40. And that's not weakness. It's wisdom. As we reach our 60s, 70s, and beyond, it's natural to feel a mix of pride and concern. This journey isn't about fear. It's about honoring your heart by transforming daily habits into acts of self-respect. Now, I would love to hear from you. This video was filled with a lot of information. Tell me honestly in the comments below, which of these 9 truths was the biggest eye-opener for you? Which fruit or habit made you stop and think? Your story might be the one that saves someone else. And if this video opened your eyes to hidden dangers, you need to know what to do next. My upcoming video reveals the 5 safest vegetables for dinner that help lower blood pressure while you sleep. To get that crucial guide, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Think of it as your personal alert system for a longer, healthier life. Thank you for watching. And here's to living with wisdom and purpose.